Hey guys, now that we've explored the kit, edit, effects, and beat pages, as well as gallery and explore, let's take a look at the mixer section. Now we've floated around the mixer section when using some of these other pages. And one thing you'll notice is that you'll see the mixer when in kit, edit, and effects pages. So you can access the mixer from any of these. If you're in another page like beats or explore, just go to kit or edit or effects. At a glance, it's pretty straightforward. You have individual volume sliders for each kit piece, as well as overhead, room, bus. You have volume controls for your effect returns, and you have your master volume fader. Each of these kit pieces also has a solo button, as well as a mute button. And this can be really handy when I'm working with a kit and perhaps even a beat. If I start playing something here, you can see how simple it is to use the mixer and these three primary functions. All of that is pretty straightforward. Towards the bottom, you also have polarity reverse. This is especially handy if you're having phase issues and maybe you feel like something's out of phase, or you can sometimes get a kind of a nice effect with it. If, for example, I'm working with snare, and it's linked to this Flexi 3 snare, I can solo those up. If I throw one out of phase, or polarity, they start to cancel each other out. If you start hearing an effect like that, reversing the polarity of one or the other might fatten it up or sort of thin it out. If I'm hearing sort of a pinched sound between, say, overhead and room, I could throw one of those out of polarity as well, and see if I get different sound quality or if there's any cancellation at all. In addition to mute, solo, polarity, and volume, we also have individual pan controls for each kit piece, and these you can simply click and drag left or right. Pretty simple. If you get out of whack, remember our keyboard shortcut. Hold Control on your Windows machine or Command on your Mac. Just hold it down and click the field to return it to its default. And you also have pan for overhead, room, bus, and master. At the bottom of each kit piece, you have an output assign. And by default, each kit and kit piece is assigned to the main outs. You can look at this or change it by just clicking and holding your mouse. It's already set to go to master. What that means is that each of these drums is going to the master output bus. If I'd like to change this, I can click and change it to separate out. This is especially useful when mixing in a host DAW. In Addictive Drum standalone, it really won't do much, so its real purpose is for mixing with a DAW. Now we'll get into details about using Addictive Drums 2 in host applications later, but let's take a quick look at Addictive Drums in Pro Tools so you can see an example. If I assign each of these to separate outputs, and I'll just do a few right now, what happens is that Addictive Drums, while it has its own instrument track as playing a mix, I could either add a few audio or auxiliary tracks, and look at my inputs, in this case Pro Tools. I have plugin, Addictive Drums 2, and I could choose kick. Now the kick drum from Addictive Drums is being routed to this track. That would allow me to record the individual kick drum from this performance right into this audio track. And then I could do my mixing, add more effects, and so on within my host application. You'll also notice that I could route to both master and separate out. This creates a handy way to monitor your main drum mix on a master track while also routing to individual outputs. In addition to the basic mix controls you see on each kit piece channel strip, you have additional controls when looking at either bus or send effects. We've discussed these in previous videos, but let's take a quick look again. If I look at the effects page, you'll notice that each channel strip in the mixer has additional controls. If I want to send a kit piece through one of these delurb processors, just click and drag the send volume here. I could turn on the other delurb and send various kit pieces to the separate effect. After those effects are processed, that effects level is controlled here. The same applies to bus. If you're using the insert bus, you can control how much of each individual kit piece is going through this bus by a very similar volume control. Just click and drag each individual kit piece you want to send through the bus. And that's really all there is to it. The mixer section is pretty straightforward and simple. And again, we'll get into more techniques on using the mixer and individual output routing as we explore Addictive Drums 2 in various host applications. In our next video, we'll explore the audio recorder as well as snapshots. Thanks for watching.